Hello and welcome back to another video, and today I am starting my MotoGP 22 career mode. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it. Of course, in this episode we've got to sign for a team, and then I'm probably just going to do the first round of the season because usually signing the team and all of the personnel takes a little bit of time, so it's easier just to do one race in the first episode, but then after that I'll be doing 2 races per episode. As usual, it gives you the option to choose your class. Of course, we are going to start with Moto 3. We're going to start from the bottom and work our way up. So it seems like there's the option to pick your calendar this year. I mean, obviously there was last year, but that was just that you could actually pick the planned calendar or sort of the COVID calendar, whereas this year there's an official calendar, intermediate with 15 races, and a short with 8. So there you go. If you don't want to do too many races, it's a nice little feature because they have that in the F1 game, and I think sometimes it probably is worth it. Like maybe after I've done a few seasons, perhaps I'll swap to the intermediate calendar and things like that. So I guess to see, but we'll get into the official calendar then. And as always, the first thing we have to do is hire our personal manager. So we've got an option, well, we've got 5 options here. So we've got Young-Si Chung, Liam Smith, Antonio Neto, Min-Si Choi, and Damien Romero. So we've got to have a look who is going to get us the best deal and who is also going to be the cheapest to go with. So Young-Si Chung, it seems to be a bit more expensive. Not great at negotiating, not great at finding, but 20 on the credit, so they'll get us more money. But I don't think it's worth it for that big increase. I mean, look at that compared to some of the others. So we've got 20 on Liam Smith for negotiating, 10 for actually the credits, and 10 for finding. Antonio Neto might be worth a go because he's not as expensive as some of the others, and he's good at seeking out offers. On here we've got 33,000, which is so much less than the 46,000 demanded there. But in terms of the actual thing you get 15 negotiating and 15 on the searching, and on here you get 15 credits. Well, again, he's up to 40,000. So to be honest, I think Min-Si Choi is going to be the best option so far. So that's what I'm going to go with. So that's the personal manager signed. Now we get to choose whether we want to start up our own team or search with a factory team. I always like to go for the factory team, to be honest, because I did the new team thing when it first came out, and it's basically the same, and I just prefer to have the official liveries, so that's why I go for that. So let's see who we've got then on the table. So we've got Avintia, the QGA Motor team, we've got CIP or Team MTA as the options. So all a KTM, so in terms of the bike, it should be the same. Team performance is the same as well, so we've not got to worry too much about that. So I guess we just look at the salary and the expectations. Expectations are all the same. 4th row, top 15 in the race, top 10 in the championship. So really, it's just going to be salary that negotiates it because they're all 1-year deals. So the annual salary is the most on the Avintia team, but is that just because they give the biggest objective bonus? In fact, actually, you get more from everything, so I think we're going to go with Avintia. So that's 2 years in a row that we've signed for Avintia, but they give the best money, so, you know, it's hard to say no to that. So there we go then. Obviously, a bit of a different look than last year, so even though I said I'd signed for them last year, it still has a little bit of a different look because we've got the red and orange bike this time rather than the blue bike because they are now sponsored by QJ Motor. So it seems like they've redone the team presentation a little bit because it used to just be a video in the background, but now it seems like on the floor and the walls it's actually the video. There we go, and there's the video on the background. So it seems like they have changed that a little bit. The kit for the crew seems to still be the old one, so it's still blue, so it looks a little bit weird there. But I guess it doesn't matter too much. So it does seem that it's slightly different in this menu. We've actually got the rider standing there in 3D rather than a 2D image like in the previous game, so that's always nice. So let's have a look at the headquarters, see if there's anything we can do there in terms of development. I don't think we've got any research data at all. So, well, actually, we've got 140, which is not enough to do anything. So for now, we're going to have to leave that. But can we put anybody on the research data? Well, we've already got it. So on the research, we've got people on the engine and the frame. So that'll be fine then for now. So the only thing we can do is advance forward and see if we get a bit more research data, and then we can start looking at putting some upgrades on. So we've got a couple of notifications here on week 3 on the headquarters, so that means we can obviously put an upgrade on now, so we can afford that first engine upgrade. So that development is only going to take 3 weeks, so not too long for that to come on. But I think that's just better fuel consumption. Oh no, maximum torque increase. I saw something about optimization, just assumed it was going to say fuel, but there we go. So we get a bit more torque from that. And then on the frame here, what's this one going to be? Better reactivity, so that should be better sort of direction changes, things like that. it is nice sort of knowing exactly what I'm doing and how to work around it, but it is a shame that the career mode has not changed for so long now. It's been the exact same since MotoGP 19 really, so hopefully in MotoGP 23 we'll get a new career mode, but it's launch day of MotoGP 22. I shouldn't be wishing for stuff for the next game, but we'll keep advancing forward then. I don't think we're going to actually get any upgrades before the race starts. I think the race will happen before. We have got a notification here on the technical staff, a new data analyst applying, Louis Leroy, who is much better on the frame, better on the aero and electronics, which obviously doesn't matter. It's actually nice that that's greyed out on this screen now. I think that is a change. I don't think previously it did. I think you just had to know which ones were eligible for the class you're in, but it's greyed out to show you that it's a pointless thing in this class. We lose 5 on the engine though, which, let's be real, is going to be the most important thing in Moto 3. We also don't really have much money either, so for now, I'm just going to leave him, not going to bother signing him. We'll just keep advancing forward. Actually, I think we are going to get those first couple of upgrades in just before the race, because I don't know when the race is. If I actually click on the calendar, still a few more weeks till the race, so yeah, we're alright. We've actually got those first 2 upgrades on. Not enough, of course, to do any more, so we'll reassign them to the production. It's nice that there's also a button to do that as well. I don't know if there was in the previous game or not, to be completely honest, but it's good that it's there either way. So I think now we've just got to advance forward to the race and then head into the weekend, to be honest. Oh no, we've got another notification on technical staff. I guess it's another applicant, a new chief engineer this time, Richard Khan, who is, again, better on the frame but worse on the engine, so don't really want to take that because obviously the engine is very important in Moto 3. And I can actually put another frame upgrade on by the looks of it. Better tyre wear, yeah, we'll go for that. So that upgrade's only going to take 3 weeks, so these upgrades are so fast, so you always forget when you have to go back to Moto 3 at the start of the new game, actually, how quick the Moto 3 upgrades are. Because in MotoGP and Moto 2, it takes ages to do the upgrades. But that should be it now then before this race. So that's sort of all the admin before the first race sorted. We're heading to the weekend now. Probably talk to you maybe at the end of practice, and then you can join me for qualifying. But it's going to be a long practice session because I've got to get used to this bike again. Obviously, the game as well is completely different to the well, it's quite different to the last game. So the Moto 3 bike's going to feel different. So I've got to get into the groove. So I'll be practicing for a while, I assume. So then, it was actually a pretty successful FP1, to be totally honest with you. Obviously, we've managed to end up 5th on the timing sheets, only 2.5 tenths away from Dennis Fodger, which is pretty good going for obviously 120% AI first day. But it is Moto 3, of course, so you know, it's a little bit funny, but there's a bit of time on the table still, so I think we can actually fight with the fast riders, which is really, really good, because we improved a lot over the course of the session. I wasn't nearly in the 205s at the start of the session, so that's really good. We also managed to achieve all of the objectives. The only one I didn't really get to add to in this session was no falls, and that wasn't even my fault. I came out of the pits on one of the times, because the AI auto drive just sort of lets you go, and then an AI just sort of came around the corners, hit me, and knocked me off, so I couldn't really do a lot about it, but overall I was really, really happy with that session, so we'll head into qualifying now. We should be straight through into qualifying 2, and I guess we're going to be fighting for the front. We're going to be fighting for pole position. So then, we're here in Q2, and we only just made it through, actually. The AI all improved quite a bit in FP2, which managed to basically jump them ahead of me. So we only just managed to stay in because they were doing 204s in FP2. So it's going to be quite difficult. I don't think we are going to be fighting for pole position anymore, because really a 205 was about the max I could get out of the bike. I really should have took that into account when I was sort of estimating where we're going to be fighting for. But either way, then we made it through to qualifying 2 on our first race, so that's you know, it's a great start already. We've got a few soft tyres to choose from, and it does seem like the soft tyre is somewhat viable in this game so far, at least for qualifying. So we'll head out onto the track and let's see what we can put down as a banker. So one thing that actually is worth noting here, obviously, because the AI go a lot quicker than you in the pit lane for some reason. They seem to speed in the pit lane. And also there's a really interesting bug here where you just get stuck in first gear. The AI just doesn't shift up for whatever reason, so you just get to hear your bike being absolutely revved until you actually get control at the end of the pit lane. It's rather strange, but there you go. That's just how these things are sometimes. So on this lap, we've got to try and take care of the tyre as much as we can, because of course it is a soft tyre. It is better than last year, I believe, but it's still, you know, it's not an amazing tyre still. It's still, it'll still wear out after, you know, a good lap and a half. If you push it, it can actually just complete a lap now, whereas in the previous game it really couldn't. And I want to just be able to look after it, because I want to have probably a couple runs, maybe not on this tyre necessarily, but I want to at least get a good banker lap in on this tyre, then have a couple of the laps sort of pushing it, because we've got a few soft tyres to throw at it, which is always nice. And then I just want to end up somewhere decent, because if I end up, you know, somewhere decent on the grid, I can at least fight in the group. And in the race, I could perhaps use a little bit of Power Mode 3, but Of course, again, this is a brand new game, so I'm not really 100% sure of the fuel consumption. Obviously, in GP21, it was pretty much a joke. Like, you could use Power Mode 3 for most of the race and get away with it. Not sure how it's going to be on this game so far, so of course I don't want to rely on having Power Mode 3 at my disposal when that actually might not be the case. So we'll have to see when we get to the race. So here we are then, coming through the final turn. I would have preferred it if I had a bit of a tow coming onto this lap, but sadly we haven't got one, so I'll just have to go with it on my own. We've got Garcia behind me, he's probably got a bit of a tow. Interesting to see that the LED still seems to be a bit wrong. It seems like he's still got the old Aspar KTM, sort of the Renas livery on. But here we are then down towards the first corner. We've just got to spot that braking zone on the left hand side, and I've gone in a little bit hot. The rear end is not like that at all, but we've somewhat pulled it down to the apex, so it's not the end of the world. So as we come out the last corner, it's not been a great lap because Garcia had completely caught me up, and then we had a little bit of contact on the way into the last corner, and it caused him to crash, but it was a bit of a weird move from him. But up towards the line then, 205.8, so that's a decent chunk off of Dennis Onchu. So definitely going to want to go again, because that's not going to be good enough. 6/10 off virtually. So that'll probably put me quite far down the order, because I can imagine they'll go a bit quicker than what Onchu's done. So coming towards the line then, it's been a bit of an improvement on this lap. What's it going to be? Still 9th place. I didn't actually improve in position, but I did improve in time. I'm only 2 tenths now. Well, I said plus 2.270 at the top right, but I'm actually 3 tenths, nearly 4 tenths off. So we've got to head back to the pits now. See if I can find a little bit more time on a new set of tyres. But so far, we're sitting in a decent place, 9th place, not too bad. So we've got just over 3 minutes to go, so that should be enough time to basically do 2 laps. The AI have improved a little bit because the Ortola's now pole with a 204.7, so there's even more time to find here. So coming up towards the line, then we have found another 3 tenths. Where's this going to put us? Very, very close to pole according to the thing on the right hand side, but again, that seems to be a bit off. I'm not really sure what that is. I don't know whether that's per sector rather than overall lap, but we're 4 tenths off. That's 7th place. I'm going to keep going because we've got one more lap to see if we can improve. So coming up towards the line, it's not quite been enough. It's 4 tenths off what I did before. I think I would have better run out the last corner this time, but the tyre just wasn't quite there and the lap wasn't quite good enough. But it looks like it's going to be 7th place in our first race. So in actual fact then we ended up in 9th place, so it looks like some of the AI did just improve at the end of the session there. But Ivan Ortola, the rookie, takes pole position ahead of Andrea Mino in 2nd, Xavi Artigas in 3rd, and Daniel Holgado in 4th. So a bit of an interesting top 4 there. Obviously, Mino you kind of expect, especially at Qatar. Obviously, he did really well there in real life. But and Ortola as well actually was looking pretty good there. I think Artigas to some extent, but maybe not, you know, first to third on the grid. But that helps me out a bit anyway. If some of the front runners are not quite there, obviously with Foggia and Masia being down in 6th and 7th, obviously we've out-qualified both the gas bikes. Guevara in 16th. Where is Garcia? Garcia 18th, so a poor qualified session for them. Obviously, same with the two Husqvarnas as well, so some of the riders really, really struggling there. But we're in 9th place. We managed to out-qualify all my teammates, so I'll absolutely take that. In fact, I don't think any of my other teammates were even in this session, so that tells you all you need to know. So overall, a pretty good qualified session. We got in the top 10, and we met the objective as well, because obviously we need to be on the 4th row for that. So, yeah, let's head into the race now, and let's see what we can do. So down here on the grid then, looking at Andrea Mino in 2nd position, and I'm quite looking forward to this. Obviously, I've not really done a proper race in the game yet. I did do one test race before this, just to check the AI difficulty, and it seemed like the AI 120 was going to be correct. I just noticed there that the Repsol Honda crew was standing around the Tech 3, so I take back what I said in the previous video where they'd fixed the Repsol Honda suits. They haven't. They just overwrote the Tech 3 ones again, so good to see that the same bugs are still persistent between this game and the last one, but either way, it doesn't really matter. 9th place on the grid. If we can get a good start, we could be right up in the mix for the victory. Obviously, it is Moto3, so usually it's a bit of a pack, and from what I can tell, they're still not great off the line if you use a bit of Power Mode 3, so that's something I'm definitely going to try and do. Obviously, I need to try and get every advantage I can. Seems like medium is still going to be the sort of the meta choice for the race, although it's actually recommending me a hard tyre. Yeah, alright, I'll go with that then. I'll go with a hard tyre on the rear, because the game is recommending me that. I did feel like the tyre was going off quite a bit, although the front was probably what I was more worried about, so we'll go with medium hard, we'll play it safe. That decision might bite me, potentially. I'm not too sure, because obviously the grip off the rear tyre does really matter in Moto3 to get the drive out the corner, but I guess we'll see. I'd rather have a little bit of grip on the final lap, rather than having nothing left and just drop back, even if it's from a better position. So without any further ado then, let's get this race started. Oh, I can't wait to see what this is going to be like.
Exciting lap complete. It's important to have warmed up the tyres or they could have problems on turns 2 and 6. All eyes on the lights now. Everything's ready for the start of the Qatar Grand Prix.
So Ortolo on pole, then Mino 2nd. Artigas in third, waiting for the lights to go here then at Qatar. Lights out and away we go. And yes, we have had a good start. You can see already the Power Mode 3 is coming in clutch. You've got a bit of a slipstream here of Kaito Toba. Messiah comes across onto me there, so I'm going to be boxed to the outside. But then Messiah has gained a little bit on me as we go down towards the first corner. Thought I was going to get my nose swiped there. A few riders on the inside. Foggia is super wide. We're going to have contact with Foggia. Oh, Foggia's had to lift a foot off the foot peg there, I think, on the outside. We've been absolutely swamped. We had a great start. Foggia's now on the inside of his teammate Suzuki behind us, but we had a great start, but we're now being absolutely swamped down the pack. We're down into 12th position, so it's not been the ideal start, even though off that front row was fantastic. Seems like the AI have a lot more straight line speed than me currently. A few riders go wide there through turn 4. Is someone going to come the inside through turn 5? Looks like Suzuki's having a look. I've got to be careful not to go on the green. Oh, I just went on the green there a little bit. Got a track limits warning. You don't want one of those at all. Guevara going around the outside. Garcia's up the inside. There's a crash behind. Now to here they're going a bit slow. This is a chaotic first. Like you can see, there's bikes all over the place. People go wide through every corner. Seems to be a new animation when you're close to a rider as well. You're riding. Oh, there's been a crash. I think Mino's down. I think he's took Artigas with him. I think those are the two riders that go down. John McPhee inside now, so I'm being absolutely swamped here. The AI seem absolutely ridiculous on the first lap of this race. I'm swooping back around the outside then. My rear tyre's overheating, so I'm glad I went with that hard tyre, because I don't think I'd be able to manage with the medium. So I've gone up into Power Mode 3 just to try and get a little bit on this straight. But like I said in qualifying, I'm not really sure how it's going to last throughout the race of Power Mode 3, so I don't want to sort of rely on it too much. AI don't seem too great through those couple of corners. That's put me on the back of Garcia once again. Oh, I think McPhee's looking at the inside. I remember back to that corner from last year. We've picked up another track limits warning, so this has been a messy first lap. Ran a bit wide through that corner. A bit scared of the curb on that corner, and also I'm just thinking back to last year where the AI kept crashing through there as well. Obviously, it seems like that issue is fixed in this game, but it still does sky you a little bit. Suzuki looking at the inside. We swooped across the front of him. But it's not been an ideal start. Down from 9th to 12th on this opening lap. But we're still part of the first group. I don't know who that is. I think that's Holgado on the right-hand side there. You can see miles off on the right. Trying to get a bit of a slipstream here off of John McPhee, because it seems like the AI are much faster than me on the straights. Let's go down towards the first corner. Suzuki's looking at the inside. Oh, so they've just forced me out of the way. Been pushed wide by Tatai as well. I've just been absolutely swamped. I'm going absolutely backwards here. I'm outside the points now. Joe Kelso is on the inside. We're going around the outside of Joe Kelso, but the AI, oh, smashed into the side of Guevara. And now I can't turn in because of Guevara around the outside. Guevara's not too happy with me. Don't blame him because we've just hit into him a few times, but in this race so far, we have been absolutely dropped. AI's pace is something else. Out of turn 6, almost high-sided myself, but we've got to run on Kelso. We hit him at the back, though, which is unfortunate. This is very much reminding me of... Oh, the rear has completely stepped out, forced me wide. That's allowed Guevara through. It's going to allow Agi through. No, we've just get to front of Agi for now. I was about to say, this is reminding me of MotoGP 19 very much. The AI are overpowered on the straight. You see, there's a crash. There's a crash. I think that was Dennis Foggia. No, sorry, Tatsuki Suzuki has gone down there. So one of the layer parts is down. So there's been a couple of crashes around that section of the track on the last couple of laps. But honestly, any chances of me getting a good position are completely gone, especially with that rear tyre. The rear tyre is completely shredded. I've got no feel in it at all. It's completely overheated. We're at the inside of Agi. That was an aggressive pass. I was sort of just re-overtake based on his pass because he ran a bit wide because he had to pass me. But really, I need to try and cool down this rear tyre if I can. But obviously, I can't do that mid-race, so I just have to keep pushing on and hoping that I can get used to it. But the rear tyre is absolutely gone. I keep pressing Y to try and look at the actual temperature, but I just keep forgetting that that's not the control for that anymore. Agi up the inside to the last corner. Once again, Agi's a bit wide. And we're going to get Kelso out of here as well. You can see we got the better drive compared to the AI, so we should keep that down the whole straight, but you will indeed see that we probably don't. The fastest up to McPhee, 205.2. I just said 207.1. Look at that. Kelso with a bit of slipstream is going to try and come flying past me. I'm just going to have to be brave into turn 1. Oh, on the rear again. There's been a crash. I think that's to the two IOs. The two IO boys have just taken each other out. So we're moving up the order even more. But now we've just been absolutely tapped by both the Honda Team Asias. I think that's Soro in front of us as well. We've just smacked into the side of Agi. That's not going to be too popular with the comments, is it? It was an accident, I promise. Here comes an MTA bike as well. Nepa around the outside. I'm at the inside of Agi. Agi and Nepa side by side. I've forced them a bit wide. There's been more crashes off of the right, left-hand side. I'm not sure who's down. We're now fighting over 13th again all of a sudden around the outside of the Honda Team Asia. That was Forsato, wasn't it? We're now back up into 12th place. Nepa's trying to go around the outside. The AI here are absolutely ruthless. Their pace is unreal. I mean, they're doing their qualifying times, whereas obviously I'm not, because I'm not using the same tyre compounds and the same fuel. It seems like it's like the opposite to normal. I've just been punted wide by Forsato. We've now got Riccardo Rossi on the right-hand side of me there. Trying to go around the outside of Riccardo Rossi. We've forced him right onto the side of the curb. I am fighting for my life here. This is aggressive. The AI are so aggressive right now. I mean, I'm loving it, but oh, it's hard. It's hard to try and keep this position. And really, we've just been helped out by crashes in front, but no wonder they're crashing because they're being this aggressive. Here comes Riccardo Rossi up the inside of me into the last corner, but he's going to run a bit wide. We're going to get the cut back on him. So back up into 13th place. I'm just struggling so much with this rear tyre because it's so hot. I can't brake and turn in like I want to, and the AI can just outbrake me. And because they've got more speed on the straights, I can't really do anything about it because that's a 207, two 207s in a row. I was like 2 seconds quicker than that in qualifying. It's unbelievable. Here comes Riccardo Rossi again. He's forced me off. He's completely forced me off. What is he doing? Unbelievable from Riccardo Rossi, and that's cost us me more position. I've just come across the track into one of the Vision tracks. I've had one of the RBA bikes off as well. This has been a messy lap. We've picked up Charlotte's 1 as well. I need to actually be allowed back onto the race circuit or onto it, but we're down to 18th. This has gone horribly, and we've got still one of the Honda team ages. Well, Aji's now down. He's just crashing to the side of me. The AI, they are being way too aggressive. It's costing them so much. Oh, there's been another crash there. And that's Riccardo Rossi. So I think, again, he's dive bombed someone and forced them wide. It's just, oh, these AI, honestly, they're so over the line. It's unbelievable. I mean, I know I've just took somebody out on this lap, but that's just because I was literally trying to rejoin the track, hit somebody else. I couldn't even, like, get back on the track at all. It's absolutely incredible how aggressive they're being. We've got a good run here on David Munoz. I think Panam's going to sit behind him. Oh, it's another crash. Another crash at the last corner. It seems like the AI are not having the long respawn times that we saw in MotoGP 21 once the bike retrieval was on. So that's a little bit disappointing, but we've got a hella slipstream here. We're going to the right-hand side. We're going to pass our teammate. We're going to pass the MTA bike as well. Got to be careful. I've got to hit the brakes nice and early. There's loads of AI crashing in front. It says they're crashing, but they're probably going to get back on in front of me at this rate. Yes, they are. And there's been contact between one of them and I think Joel Kelso in front. We're now scrapping for 12th place again all of a sudden. So I have no idea what is going on here. And that IO bike that's just got back, I'm sure we've seen an IO bike crash about a million times. So I'm guessing both Tech 3s and both IOs have crashed at this point in the race. McPhee's trying to go around the outside. I'm not having any of it. We've got Josh Watley just in front. So there's a battle of Brits here. Against, I think, is that still Munoz in front? Oh, Watley's up the inside of Munoz. Can I try and get them? McPhee is hassling me as well. I'm going around the outside of Munoz. Can I try and get the switch? But I've been hit by Nepa up the inside. Look how much quicker I am, though, than the previous laps, just because I'm not being hit out of the way anymore. It's absolutely incredible. Oh, and we've got Nepa up the inside. Someone's crashed. It's Guevara coming back on the track. What is this? There's so many AI. This is a ridiculous race, honestly. It's unbelievably ridiculous. The amount of crashes that are happening, the lack of time they're losing as well from those crashes, but then just how aggressive the AI are being. Look at Munoz. He was on the inside of Watley there, and he's been completely done over. There's been another crash behind as well, I think. Think about the amount of riders that have overtaken me, and that I'm now back up to my starting position almost. I'm just one place down on where I started in this race. And the amount of riders that actually have overtaken me, but then have then crashed in front. It's unbelievable. So there we go then, down towards the final corner. Can we try and get Nepa? Watley's gone a bit wide. He's pushed McPhee wide as well. Can we get the run on them? We've got the run here on Nepa. Can we try and get McPhee as well up towards the line? I think we might do. We can just get a bit of a side slipstream up towards the line. Come on, can I at least get 9th place? No, I think it was 10th. But what a race that was. Unbelievable. So Andrea Mino won the race and ahead of Ivan Ortola in 2nd place, Yama Masia in 3rd, Carlos Tatai in 4th position, Alberto Sura in 5th. That's how crazy this race was, because I'm sure that all of those top 4 crashed at some point in the race. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure that all those top 4 crashed at some point in the race. It's absolutely incredible what happened here. So there's been a few DNFers. We've got Sergio Garcia, Riccardo Rossi, Taya Forsato, and Dennis Foggia, but honestly, that was ridiculous. That was absolutely ridiculous. It's a shame that we couldn't quite out-drag anybody to the line there. you could see there we were massively down on top speed compared to the AI. I was using power mode 3 and only just about leveling them on the straight, which perhaps they were also doing it, but even still, it seemed like they had a lot more of it than I did. And the rear tyre was awful, so I'm not sure whether that was to do with track temperature, or whether the hard tyre is now the bugged tyre, because in the last few games there's been one tyre that's always been bugged. It overheats too much and doesn't have any grip. Last year, well, in MotoGP 20, it was the medium tyre. Last year it was a soft tyre. This year it seems like it could be the hard tyre. Obviously, I don't really have enough information to say that, but it could well be. But what a race that was. I mean, if it was any other game, we would have won that race by probably 5 seconds myself because of all the crashes happening. But the AI was super, super aggressive. I did at least get back into the 206 on the final lap, because once I could run my lines and wasn't being dive bombed everywhere, I wasn't quite as slow. But that was, the AI there, man, unbelievable. So if we look at the Riders' Championship, of course it is the same as the race results, so we're in 10th place with 6 points, 19 down on Andrea Mino. And the Teams Championship, that's going to be quite interesting. So Snipers lead that currently 9 points ahead of Team MTA, with Red Bull KTM Iowa in 3rd place, Prustal GP in 4th, CIP Green Power in 5th, Vision Track Racing Team in 6th, and ourselves in the Avintia team in 7th place. So after that crazy race then, we're going to head back to the career hub, but I cannot believe that. I was getting dive bombed at every corner, there was AI crashing out at every corner, and unfortunately the bike retrieval didn't really seem to be a thing for the AI again, which is a shame because it was in MotoGP 21, when you had bike retrieval on, the AI had a 30-second respawn time, well, not 30 second, but it was quite long, whereas they were basically getting back on instantly here, so yeah, it was a bit crazy. So back in the career hub then, and I did have a quick look at the replay whilst I was getting the screenshot for the thumbnail, and Mino didn't actually crash. I was incorrect in that. I think I thought it was a Sniper's bike at one point in the crash, and I don't think it was. It was quite hard to keep track. I also thought that like the IO bikes crashed a million times, but I think the first time I saw 2 Tech 3s go down and thought it was the IOs, and actually the IOs did go down, and I thought, oh, that's an IO again. So yeah, it was really confusing because the amount of riders that were going down, it was really hard to keep track of, so apologies for that, but it seems like we had a pretty good weekend. We gained 2,900 reputation points, which takes us up to 10,900. It's nice to not have the VIP multiplier this year, because that ruined it last year, where you're getting way too many credits. That seems like a much more fair amount of reputation. As for the credits, though, I've got 4,310, which takes me up to 63,770. We had a good weekend on the research data as well. We didn't manage to do without falls. Like I said earlier on, it's because I got knocked off coming out the pit, sadly. But we did manage to pass everything else. So we've got 710 on the engine and 180 on the frame. So not only did I have a bad race, the game has decided to roast me for it. It's told me to do a tyre management tutorial. That's fantastic. Well, I'm going to say do not show hints again, because thank you, that's a bit mean. But yeah, that tyre was gone. The tyre was absolutely gone, and I think that was partly down to the tyre being bugged, to be completely honest with you, because the medium was never even that bad. So yeah, the fact that the hard was, that was a bit of a shame, to be honest. I think that definitely affected my position in the race. But fortunately, we did manage to get a top 10, so it's not the end of the world. But I would have liked to have had a better result coming out of Qatar, because we're going to Mandalika next, which obviously is a circuit I don't know. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one. But we have got a notification here on the engine, so we'll quickly put on, well, I actually can choose which upgrade we want. So maximum torque increase or fuel consumption reduction. I think I've got to go with maximum torque after what we saw there, because they were unbelievably quick on the straights. It was very MotoGP 19-esque, I felt, which is good because it makes it more challenging, because Moto3 was way too easy last year. But yeah, they were way too aggressive though, because I mean it was Moto3, so it kind of makes sense, but it was completely ridiculous. They were just hitting each other out of the way. I mean, the amount of crashes when none of them were actually because they hit a curb or anything. It's just because they kept dive bombing each other and crashing into each other. It was it was mad. But that's been the first episode of MotoGP 22 Career Mode then, so I hope you guys did enjoy that one. If we've got more episodes like that in store, I'm sure you're going to enjoy yourselves, so if you are new to the channel, do feel free to subscribe. We're really close to 5k subscribers now, so it would really mean a lot to me if you did, and of course then you get to see the videos as soon as they come out, so it's a bit of a win-win for both of us there. But like I said, I hope you did enjoy that one, hope you enjoy the rest of your day, hope you're all staying safe, and I shall see you in the next one.